All right. Here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. We'll try to smooth out those rough roads. Out of roll here. I'm coming out of roll a little bit here. All right. So, Kansas, I'm not probably going back east for surgery. I'm going to try to find some of your surgeons. Apparently, some of your surgeons are considered uh, top notch for the particular surgery that I need. Maybe even as far as effectuation, a higher level than the surgeon. The surgeon I was selecting was a very intelligent person, but intelligence doesn't necessarily mean outcomes, right? But I'm not doubtful of good outcomes from that particular entity. Right? I'll give you some background. So I called in from Amarillo, Texas, to schedule a surgeon. The woman who was the scheduler that I was connected to, she and she would walk me through the process. Right? She's more on a schedule. She's I guess the liaison for Rothman Institute, or a liaison. I don't know where she is now, but she was marvelous. I felt shook up. What she did was she said, "I'm going to try to get you this one surgeon." She says he's one of the best here. Well, what happened is she goes, "I'm not sure," because he's picky. They didn't want to do telehealth with somebody in Texas, so he turned it down. And they gave me this guy. Now I didn't see his credentials. May have been I couldn't find him. I didn't see this part of it. I mean, he's done peer reviews, and he went to Jefferson University, and he was probably one of the number top five in his class at that time period. He was president of this and da, da, da. So he, of course, he ended up at Rothman, right? And he does a lot of stuff that would say that he's probably pretty good at what he does. He's a nice guy, and like I said, he seemed a little off when I was speaking to him. But at a certain point, I said, "Well, how long does it take for the leg to come back?" And he just got a big smile on his face, and he said, "As soon as I get that bone off that nerve." And it seemed like that's why he would do it. Like this was his passion. I'm sure when me coming in at 56, 57, he was encouraged. I was young enough to really have a great outcome. Right. So what happened is my brother got a little cold to me coming out there. And again, I attribute that to deep state, whatever they do. Remember, they're deep state physical and deep state of the mind. They're in people's minds, steering. If you don't believe that, then you don't believe the Bible or any religious scripture that really exists. Right. And a podiatrist told me, "Look, it's your foot spurs. It'll get better. I'm going to give you these shoes." Now, it did get better, but what it did is it kind of cramped my back up. Now, I'm actually dealing with something right now where it's still not 100%. I can't believe steroids are already working. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe it's anesthesia or something. Now, my back did cramp up last night, but I was able to release it today. And I do have a little bit more power in that leg. It's not enough to say, halt the surgeries. So again, Kansas needs to protect me from the deep state here as far as my surgical procedures. Right. I went to Colorado again. I was harassed by the deep state, and there's no way to just really mind those decisions. And I say, I don't know if this guy's real. Could have been like a Hollywood production. I mean, they're that nasty, these deep staters. I went to my doctor, and I scheduled an appointment. And I get in there, and there's a guy in a wheelchair that had failed back surgery, urine bag, everything. But again, I know what they're capable of, so I'm like, this could also be a setup. He could be a drug dealer or something. Correct. So it was very difficult getting anywhere, and I didn't realize I was all cramped up. Like I couldn't even think, past. They harassed me everywhere. Again, what I'm doing is trying to get you to see who in your organizations is corrupt. so you can handle that issue and clean up your organizations. And again, there's officers that realize what's going on when they hear from it. And they realize who's corrupt. They don't necessarily can't do anything, but they can keep themselves kind of what the Bible speaks unspotted. Well, theoretically, this should, it really doesn't get started for 2 or 3 days, is what it says. One day it would be magical. And it increases over the next week to 2 weeks at a minimum. Well, the problem with St. Luke's, the one problem is I'm in with their change management guy, and it's junked up a little bit. So they usually, and I don't hate St. Luke's, but I went to that St. Luke's hospital and I couldn't breathe. Now, I don't know. This guy could do surgery at St. Luke's. I don't know. They have places that they do surgery. But it's just, I already called in trying to, because like I'm not trying to see a back surgeon right away, but I need to get into that network and start, and I'm kind of there, right? But I need to get an MRI and all that. So I thought that maybe somebody that did this to me years ago gave me this procedure, used a catheter, but it was just a catheter with a needle or a bendable tube and then a needle at the end, right? Because when he sent that thing in there, I'm like, "Ooh," and he's got to push it up, And I'm like, I'm not like, but I'm like, or something like that. It wasn't real loud, but I said, just keep going. I'm going to make noise, but just keep going. So he was able to get that in there and get that medicine in there. It was a strange situation yesterday. I just didn't feel 100% at all. I think it was just nervousness. Again, when they do this to you for life, it's very difficult. Right. Well, the place that I'm going to right now, and I don't have to use them. I'm checking them out. I got to get referrals and things like that for MRIs, and I still got to get the MRI for the cyst done. Right. But I was assured that I ain't cancer or anything like that. It's based upon what they saw. Well, I didn't even think like my my hip joints and stuff like that were perfect. When I first went in with the issue at Azalea Clinic, that's the first people they looked at. Said, your hip joints are fine. We need to send you over to back. But with the back issue, my worry is that maybe my hip joints, could have suffered. So as far as the release back, it wasn't really bothering me yesterday in that section where it cramps, but it cramped up last night, and it was a little crazy. This morning when I got it released, I wasn't going to release it. I was thinking, which, it's just not. It's not doing the same thing it did yesterday. There's already a change. I don't know if it's from some anesthesia medicine or what. Well, sometimes from all that swelling and all that cramping and all that, you can have leg weakness off of that. Right. Well, the podiatrist did a test, and he told me, I tested to strengthen your legs. You don't have any issue like that, but I guess he's only a podiatrist. I could see it would have worked great. I'd have got out east, but I couldn't see this back then. Oh, I didn't go call. Oh, that's 405. That's not that bad. So what they did is, and they want me to tell you this, they called in So if you look at Rothman, there's a trigger number there, one of their trigger numbers. If you call Rothman, and thank you, Larry. Making sure. While I'm on the phone with Rothman, they call in. It could be reverse psychology, is what I'm getting at. But they call in on my phone with a derivative of that, hoping to force me to push through, I think. Well, because this is it's a monster inconvenience. Lose money off of that. Right. Have to try to rush out of here. And like my brother's like, you don't fly anywhere. But I said, Steve, it's just not really going to help to fly. It's just, I wouldn't fly with Hashem as mad as he is. And my brother was trying to tell me that if I flew out there, it would be easier. But it's just the idea. I told him, look, I could even drive out there. But I just don't think it's in the cards, everything that I have to do and everything that I would have to do. And I said, if the surgery works, I should be better. Right. And then I could, at that point, move from here if I wanted to. But I can't afford to live where he lives. I mean, Philadelphia is so expensive. But then again, I might, want to look into someplace in Texas that's warm. Like I go to San Antonio and help them with the looking for Linus Sarter. Sarter kill. I don't know. I don't know what the case is. I don't know what they're missing or what they can't see. Again, we continue to improve on our camera systems, and there just wasn't probably sufficient camera coverage to figure it out. Or maybe there is. I mean, I don't know. There could have been. Well, the civilian camera coverage. Like, did she show? If she doesn't show up anywhere on these cameras, then there's a question as to was it within the apartment complex. Right? There's a lot of will for pedophilia, if you know what I mean. And when they do that, what do they call that? Minor attractive person, it kind of dumbs it down. Right? I don't approve that term. Well, people there are people inside for sure saying that it's just a sexual preference. And so it gets willed up. And I think people, it is how I draw the sexual arousal conclusion. Years ago, women were turned on by gay men. Like they weren't gay women, they weren't going to have sex with a gay man, but they were turned on by the concept. And probably still true today. Right. I think that's happened with pedophilia. I think people are turned on by the concept. I think it's a mind possession. Right. Look at they're spreading the mulch today. Take a good over here and take a look. This dude just drove on my lawn and made tire tracks. Darn it! Oh, he didn't put it there. You should put it there. They did it round. They didn't put the little extension there.